So after a glut of 40k news and releases between the new Data Slate, the Arcs of Omen updates and the Astra Militarum release, it seems next week is a swing back towards the Age of Sigmar with not just one, but two brand new Battletomes coming up for pre-order. Yes, in a very welcome development, two armies which, let's be honest, are both very eager to get a new book, are getting updated. The Marauding Beasts of Chaos, otherwise known as Beastmen for some of you older players, and the hilariously chaotic Gloomspite Gitz. With some gorgeous looking new Battletomes to get things moving, there will of course be a whole range of new war scrolls, pitched battle profiles and rules to bring them well into 3rd edition, but on top of that of course, there are some brand new models coming to the tabletop as well. First up we have the Beasts of Chaos, and I'll be honest with you, this is actually a little bit disappointing to me. The new Beast Lord looks fantastic, don't get me wrong, he is a very welcome, cool new hero unit for the Beastmen to bring, but the Beastmen range in general is really old. Like, this is one of those factions that is probably best suited for a revamp. They're still fielding, well, I think pretty much everything in their range, bar maybe 1 or 2 units, is from the old days of Warhammer Fantasy. And as cool as the Bestigors and everything still are and still look, they could definitely do with an update to the Centaur kit at the very least, because those models look awful. It is a bit of a shame, I'll admit, but hopefully this is not the end of the line with just this one new model. Hopefully there will be a bigger, fuller refresh coming in the not too distant future to bring some of those older classic designs into the modern stunning detail that AOS has now. The Gloomspite Gitz fare much better, not only getting a very new evil looking Squig boss and pet Squig who kind of looks like he's channeling Batman a little bit. Like, is that just me, or do both of them kind of look like they're wearing a Batman mask? But anyway, he looks really cool, I do like him. He's got a very awesome tactical mushroom instead of a tactical rock. And then there is another update to another classic Warhammer Fantasy unit. These are Snulfang Riders, which are a genuinely gorgeous, wonderful update to the old Goblin Wolf Riders that some of you may know and love from the days of Warhammer Fantasy. And I think these, again, are a super cool, faithful sort of recreation and update and modernization of those old kits. I also think it's going to be quite interesting to see exactly how the goblins fit onto the wolves, because those wolf models are really cool. And I think if you are a Space Wolf player looking for some other Fenrisian wolves, or maybe a undead player looking for some alternative, less decayed dire wolves, it may be worth picking these up and using them because they look really good. It obviously all depends how exactly they interact with the goblins sitting on them. But if you can get them mostly free of all the bits and gubbins and harnesses, I think they could work really well for a lot of other factions who may want to bring some pet doggos to the battlefield. I also hope on a personal level that this update means there may be some new Spider Riders coming for the Gloomspite Gitz in the not too distant future as well, because they were always one of my favourite units to see in battle reports from the days of Warhammer Fantasy, but again, they are looking a little bit dated now. Finally, going up for pre-order is 2 brand new Vanguard boxes for each army. Like the 40k combat patrols, these are small, relatively cheap ways to get a force started or to add some new units to your existing force. The previous boxes for these came in at around £80 for most factions, so I'm expecting it to be the same for the Beasts of Chaos and the Gloomspite Gitz. I'm not going to go into detail about the exact points and everything, because obviously that could well be changing in their new Battletomes, but as a rough estimate, these should net you, just having a look on Battlescribe for them, around 500 to 600 points at the moment, and get you a saving of the usual 30%. The Gloomspite one in particular comes out at around £115 at the moment, so the £80 price tag is almost exactly 30% off. In terms of the actual contents, in the Gloomspite Gitz one you get a Loon Boss, 20 Stabbers, 10 Squig Hoppers and 3 Troggoths, and the Beasts of Chaos box includes a Braze Shaman, 10 Gores, 10 Ungors, 10 Bestigors, supported by 3 Terrifying Dragon Ogres, which I hate because in my first ever game of Warhammer Fantasy way back in 5th edition, whatever the edition was where it was Lizardmen versus Bretonia in the starter box, I played my first ever game of Warhammer Fantasy with Bretonia that I borrowed in a GW store, and I charged 5 knights into a unit of 5 dragon ogres and just died in one combat phase. And that was it. I was like, oh, well, that was good. That was fun. That was my introduction to Warhammer Fantasy. So dragon ogres scare me. I don't know how good they are in the game at the moment, but I love the models and I love the lore behind them. So that's quite a cool little box. It would just be nice if some of the units were updated to more modern designs, I think. All in all, I have to say there is some fairly exciting stuff coming for these two quite popular armies. I think I know a lot of people were hankering for new Beasts of Chaos, and a lot of people love the Gloomspite Gitz, but they were struggling a bit competitively. So I do think these two factions coming out together are quite a good idea from GW. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in them, and I do think that for the Gitz especially, there are some brilliant new units to pick up as well. But as always, I would really love to know what you make of these two releases, and will you be grabbing either the Battle Scrolls or the Vanguard Boxes or any of the individual units to add to your AOS force, or maybe using the Wolves for another faction or another game system? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.